everyone, welcome to Tap It Out. I'm Tim,
And I'm Mario.
and we just want to give a thank you to everyone who's been kind of checking out our content so far, looking at all the social medias, YouTube, TikToks, all the social media. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.
If you guys have any suggestions, want to send us any trivia, any random pay-per-views to watch, anything else you want us to do, definitely let us know and send us an email at tapitoutshow@gmail.com.
Awesome. So, Mario, what do you say? Let's jump into Raw tonight.
All right, let's do it. You want to start?
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, before we even get into all the specifics, what did you think of tonight's Raw?
I thought it was a very good Raw. Got a lot of bloodline. Got a lot of WrestleMania build-ups. Got Dolph Ziggler.
We're gonna get to that. We are gonna get to that.
But overall, I think it's been a great few months of wrestling, and I think it really continued tonight. So
I 100% agree. I was fully entertained throughout this whole Raw. You know, there were a couple small things, but you know, I still thought it was a great show. I still had a lot of fun watching it. You know, still great. So, we opened with the Bloodline, and that's with Jimmy Uso, Solo, and Paul Heyman arriving. And Paul's basically talking to Jimmy about how he needs to solve this Sami Zayn problem. And we find out later in the night kind of how that Sami Zayn problem gets resolved.
yeah, no, and we start off hot with Kevin Owens in Solo Sikoa. The match itself wasn't anything. It was a solid match. Not really anything really memorable. But you know, I think Solo did knee Kevin Owens accidentally in the nether region.
Yeah, it was tough. That was definitely wasn't planned. Poor Kev.
But Jimmy did end up interfering a couple times, and did actually interfere and cause a DQ for the match. And then after the match, Jimmy and Solo begin to attack Kevin Owens, and you know, Sami Zayn comes out and you know, does what he's been doing for the last couple of weeks now, trying to take down the Bloodline. And you know, talk about with Kevin.
Yeah, and then Kevin, you know, Sami comes out, tries, takes a chair, tries to get out of everyone. Then Kevin rejects Sami's handshake. I made a prediction at that point that I thought that Kevin was coming out at the end of the night. But then we'll get to the backstage segment and kind of why that didn't happen. And we'll kind of theorize on when that could happen and kind of what the next step is once we get to kind of the main event, because I think that's all kind of ties in together. I also always like to just mention that Kevin Owens' kind of body stature, it's always so cool seeing him do like a swanton or something like that. You know, it's always so cool seeing him do that because, you know, not many people can do that.
Makes you think I could be a wrestler.
Exactly. It gives us hope, right? All right. So then from there, you know, I would say pretty good match. Solid match. I enjoyed it a lot. It was fun. And then we get to a small little Bobby Lashley backstage segment. You know, nothing really of note. Just noticing that the Firefly Funhouse or the Firefly thing played in the background. So I thought that was pretty cool. You know, kind of subtly setting up to that match. I think we need a little more build though.
Yeah, I still don't know where that match is going, but you know, at least they're trying to move in the right direction. But you know, it's definitely getting close to WrestleMania, so we'll see where that goes.
You know what? I believe in them. I believe in them.
Oh yeah, I believe. We then had another backstage segment with Carmella, talking about her match with Bianca. And Chelsea Green comes in. That's a whole.
We're gonna get to Chelsea.
But you know, she's trying to tell Carmella, you know, you win this match, you can get in the WrestleMania match with Bianca and Asuka. So you know, they end up, you know, the next match ends up being Bianca Carmella. Carmella is joined by Chelsea Green. One of the notes of this match was that Carmella actually got a surprising amount of offense, and she actually didn't look that bad. I thought it was going to be more of a squash match. But she actually looked pretty good. Actually, probably one of the better performances of the night, actually in ring. So I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they're saving the squash for next week with Bianca and Chelsea. Unfortunately, which kind of leads us to our next point. So there's been reports that Triple H has been kind of disappointed with some of the talent he's brought back. But I mean, how do you expect them to succeed when Chelsea Green, you're putting her out there and you bring her back and just have her kind of be treated like a joke?
I especially don't like it because her husband is, as you know, Mr. Matthew Cardona.
Right over there. And we are very pro Cardona.
And
pro
we
pro
know how
Ryder.
he was treated in the company towards the end.
Yeah,
So I don't understand why. Chelsea Green can actually work too, so I don't understand why
she's a very good worker.
why they treat her as a joke,
Mhm.
considering that she's probably better than 80 or 90% of the active divas on the roster currently. So, but that's for another day.
Yep.
But
And also, don't forget she got the mist sprayed in her
yeah, I
face
was
too.
gonna say, yeah, she did get the blue mist just to kind of put the cherry on top. So, but we'll definitely spend some time talking about Chelsea Green at a later date.
Oh, definitely. And from there, we go back to another backstage segment with Sami Zayn talking to Kevin Owens about teaming up against the Bloodline, saying, "Hey, we don't be best friends again, but we have a common enemy here." Kevin Owens wants nothing to do with it. He's like, "Hey, dude, go back to the Bloodline, go do whatever." And that's kind of when I was like, okay, maybe Kevin Owens isn't coming out later tonight. I think they gotta start getting this. Like, I imagine next week they'll kind of start doing this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's March 6th today. WrestleMania is in what, 3.5 weeks?
Mhm.
Obviously at this point, based on what happened later on,
We know what's gonna happen.
we know it's gonna happen. So I don't see how it doesn't happen soon, because there's really no time left to build up that match. So
I mean, it could happen Friday, especially with kind of Roman giving the ultimatum and all that happening. That could happen on Friday, but I think either way in the next week or so.
yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. It's definitely gonna happen soon. After that, we had another WrestleMania build-up segment with Logan Paul and Seth Rollins.
Don't forget the Miz.
Yeah, I try to forget that.
Yeah, that was completely unnecessary for him to be there.
The crowd was actually pretty good in this segment. They kept chanting Seth's song whenever Logan Paul or The Miz tried to talk.
Which I appreciated.
Logan Paul actually took it, he was a little cringy, but he actually took it better than somebody like Ronda Rousey would take it when she gets all flustered by the crowd. So,
yeah,
he was cringy, but, he did better than I thought he would be with the crowd.
Yeah, very resilient with it.
But, I mean, Seth's, definitely showed some intensity in that segment, calling Logan a dumpster fire, said, nobody likes him, and stuff like that, and, he's going to take him down. I mean, like I said, the match itself isn't going to really mean much, but it's probably going to be a good match overall, though.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be a good match. Logan Paul's shown he can, at least kind of mask like he can work. Maybe he can work, we don't know, kind of, he's not really there day in, day out, so we don't really know, but, he can put on a spectacle, we know at least.
And so can Seth Rollins, so
yeah, Seth can definitely work.
It's definitely going to be a good match.
It honestly could be like a sleeper, match of the night, depending on what night it's on.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just, Seth can really carry people, and I know kind of I've been a little bit down on Seth recently, just because of kind of character progression, things like that, but there's no doubting who Seth is in the ring, and even me being down on Seth is still saying that Seth is one of the greats.
And based on what we've seen, Logan Paul has come out on top, Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and tonight hitting him with that right hook and knocked him out. So I definitely leaning towards probably Seth in that, because it seems like Logan Paul's had the advantage a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's gonna be a fun match regardless, though.
And Seth kind of needs a big win too. I mean, I know he held the U.S. title a few months ago, but I really feel like he could use another big win.
He's a former WWE champion. He's definitely got bigger aspirations.
Yeah, exactly. And then from there we go to the low light of the night, which is Omos came out, or I always love when Bobby Lashley or Brock called him Almost. Always loved it. But he came out to face Dolph Ziggler. First of all, we were just surprised Dolph Ziggler got an entrance. But do you want to go from here?
Yeah, but it was that didn't help at all, because the match lasted under a minute. I don't think Ziggler even got one move of offense in.
No.
And it was over. And just to kind of, forget the match itself, I have a big issue with the way Dolph Ziggler's treated in the company.
It's a shame. And listen,
former World Heavyweight Champion, former multi-time winner.
Yeah.
Lost his title, his World Heavyweight title, to a concussion.
Yeah.
From Del Rio.
Yep.
And I mean, this guy was on top for a long time.
Yeah.
Arguably arguably the greatest seller of all time.
Yeah. So I mean,
Arguably, probably top 5 in-ring worker of all time in the company.
yeah. I mean,
And this is what he gets relegated
I
to.
mean, honestly, if I listen, I didn't think liking Dolph Ziggler was a controversial opinion until recently, but for Dolph Ziggler, all you gotta do is go back and look at his run from really 2010 on, 2011 on, but specifically that Survivor Series match, the Team Authority versus Team Cena, and kind of how he carried into that match, things like that. You know, he was.
I mean, and his cash in too, one of the craziest moments in history.
I would say outside of Seth's cash in and outside of Edge's original cash in, I'd probably put Ziggler at 3. Not based on my favorite, based on kind of most important and most memorable ones.
And don't worry, we have a list.
Oh yeah.
And we will be revealing that list either this Wednesday or the following Wednesday.
Yeah.
We will be revealing that
yeah,
list.
Yeah. We're gonna be talking about how we don't like the treatment of Ziggler, and we have a list to prove that. So I mean, honestly, we could keep going all night about the mistreatment of Dolph Ziggler.
And we will.
We will.
At some point.
Yeah, we will.
And it didn't get much better after that segment because we had after that match, because we had a backstage segment with the Maximum Male Models.
Thank God LA Knight got out of there.
That's, yeah.
And did I just mention that to get an LA Knight plug in here? Yeah.
Let me talk to you. So Corbin Maximum Male Models are eyeing Otis, because obviously that's been the story the last few weeks.
Otis?
And Corbin overhears it and thinks they're talking about him, and that's another issue too. I really do like Corbin a lot, and I also think, I mean, guy's a safe worker. He's been nothing but consistent in the company, and he's being relegated to this now. The Maximum, it's a joke. It's a joke.
And he has to beg to join them. Like I mean, even looking in storyline purposes, the guy's a former U.S. champion, former Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner, former Money in the Bank winner, former King of the Ring.
And this is what he's become, losing to, who did he lose to a few weeks ago in the tournament? It was Gargano.
Yeah.
And I mean, it should. I mean, they pair him with JBL, you know, and they said that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, and then they just have him lose every match after that.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has to beg to join some jobber group that nobody cares about. You know, it's just a very, very sick thing that's going on.
I think you had the solution we were talking a couple weeks ago. Put Corbin back with Madcap. we're gonna you guys haven't heard us talk about Madcap yet, so don't worry. I'll go on my Madcap rants, but as much as I love Madcap, but you know, why not at this point?
We have some different opinion on Madcap. He's all right, but
yeah,
that's definitely another time as well.
So enough about Madcap Moss. Jumping into match 4 here, we have Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. Finn Balor with the Judgment Day.
We did forget that before the Maximum Male Models segment, they did say that Corbin would be able to join if he could defeat Chad Gable in a match. So you know what, it's not great for Corbin, but you know, I knew it was going to happen, so to boost up Chad Gable, which we'll get into a little bit.
Which we will always take boost up Chad Gable. We will always take that.
And go ahead.
Yep. So we had Balor with the Judgment Day versus Gargano with Dexter Lumis, and pretty solid match, I thought. Definitely, two guys that can work. I thought it started a little slow. I thought they picked up towards the end. Obviously it's a regular TV match, so they're not going to get into that second and third gear. I fully think if these had a pay-per-view match, it would be, they could really show out. But let's not talk about Balor and Gargano.
More importantly, Damian Priest, who's also very underappreciated.
Very much so.
I was really hoping that he was going to win the U.S. title at Elimination Chamber, but I digress. Anyways, just wanted to get a Damian Priest shout out.
And I think honestly, this is where having the tag titles put together really hurts, because I really do think like a team like Priest and Dom or Priest and Balor would have been Raw Tag Team Champions by now. And I think, I definitely think it kind of elevates the titles having them both together. But I think then you're losing out on other opportunities for, other superstars to kind of get in there and have a little bit of shine.
I'd have no issue splitting the tag titles or the Universal title as well.
No, I think after the Bloodline loses them, we can get into that more in kind of our WrestleMania previews.
Yeah.
But I really think after the Bloodlines kind of like loses their titles, I think we should kind of start to look towards that. But with this match, we had a surprise from Edge. You know, as much as Edge, I don't really know if we call it a surprise anymore.
Because Edge kind of appears a lot.
Yeah, Edge appears a lot, but hey, it's always good to see Edge. I still love Edge. Someone else in the show may have soured on Edge a little bit, but hey, Edge comes out, helps
I miss the
Gargano.
long hair. Just bring back the long hair.
Oh yeah, Edge gotta bring back the long hair. He spears Balor, definitely setting up for that match. I don't think they announced that it's Hell in a Cell, but that's kind of been the rumor that's gonna be a Hell in a Cell match, which that
would be.
Mhm.
I just hope if it's a Hell in a Cell that they actually get out of the cell and go on top of the cage.
Yeah.
Because
some of the
we haven't had a Hell in a Cell like match like that in a while where they actually go fight on top of the cell.
Go like.
And Edge is like a lunatic where he definitely would be down to like get thrown off the Hell in a Cell and get thrown off the cell.
What's crazy is the rumors are Edge's is gonna be his last WrestleMania match. There's been like a little bit of rumors that he's retiring very like in the next year. So, you know, that's why it's always important to kind of look at this and be like, oh, cool. You know,
if it's his and you know what, you know, if you're gonna have the last WrestleMania match, you know, Finn Balor's definitely not a bad opponent because. Say what you want about him, you know. I haven't always been the biggest fan, but I mean, you can't take away from his in-ring work, though, guys. He's top. He's top.
And I think since the last 6 months, he's been on a different level. You know.
Oh, him as a heel.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah,
way better as a heel.
I can't claim to have watched his heel run in New Japan with the Bullet Club, but I always liked him as a face, but him as a heel is just a different level. He is, he's really all of Judgment Day's on the top of their game right now. They really are.
We then had a quick Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns SmackDown replay. We already talked about that, but that was still great. If you haven't watched that segment, I definitely recommend going to watch it because it was definitely really good. And then we had a filler match with Nikki Cross and Piper Niven. Honestly, the biggest thing I took away from that match was before we got Piper Niven's entrance, we had a quick backstage segment with Edge challenging Finn Balor to WrestleMania during the commercial break. But the match itself was pretty much a squash match, and I know you brought up the question.
Yeah.
What are they doing with Piper Niven?
Yeah, what are they doing with Piper Niven? Like they had her lose last week. It just seems like she comes back, she'll lose a bunch, she'll get like one random win. And I mean, I get she's not a priority, but I just, am very confused, goes and wins, loses, kind of trading those losses back and forth. Kind of that 50-50 booking that, let's be real, that's kind of like a Vince staple.
And the issue is too, there's besides the women's tag titles, there's nothing for her to really win because, I know you want to build up with dominant force, but she's not gonna beat people like Bianca and Charlotte and Rhea Ripley and Asuka. And even like Alexa, like it's not gonna happen.
No.
So I don't know what they're doing with her. I mean, maybe make her like another Nia Jax or something like that. But that didn't really work out well for Nia Jax. So, honestly, match was basically a nothing. But but the next segment did get me all. I was booging out.
I'm booging out because we had Rick Boogs and Elias. Elias is coming back trying to tell Boogs, hey, you're taking your notes, and say, hey, challenge Bronson Reed to a match. But then, then Boogs uses some, semantics saying, hey, Reed, he wants to fight you. So next week we have Elias versus Bronson Reed, which I cheered very loudly when that was announced for next week because I was kind of vibing with this Raw, and I didn't want to have to have that match tonight, especially because it was so late.
And I'm glad it's not against Rick Boogs because I like Rick Boogs a lot more than Elias.
Yeah.
So at least we know Elias is going to job instead to the wannabe Brodus Clay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Don't get me started on Bronson Reed. And I don't want to hear about New Japan and he beat Okada.
I don't care.
No, I'm.
He's terrible.
He came back and nobody cared.
Put him in a fisherman's hat and a tracksuit and let him do a little shuffle out of the ring and maybe I'll like him.
Funk is on a roll.
So after that, we actually had a probably one of the best moments of the night. I would say, surprisingly,
I'm gonna say right now, this is probably my favorite segment of the night.
Was Mr. John Cena or Juan Cena, and as soon as he comes out,
he's very emotional too. Very emotional.
Gets a nice little pop from the hometown there. But right away, Theory comes out, and this has already been building up for a while now.
Yeah, shots back and forth.
Everybody kind of knew that it looked like it was going to be Theory and Cena at WrestleMania. Theory comes right out right away and challenges them to a match. Initially, Cena says no, but has a lot of personal jabs at him. Says he's a joke. Nobody cares about him.
Yeah, basically says you don't believe in yourself. Why are we gonna believe in you?
Nobody cares about you here. You're a joke. Theory did have one good jab about Cena's balls, which was kind of funny.
That was funny. But then Cena kind of leaned into it too.
Yeah, took off his hat, showed his little hair plugs.
Yep. and then Theory keeps it going, and kind of Cena eventually kind of says, "All right, now you brought the crowd into it. Do you guys want me to accept it?" Of course, they say yeah.
And I think it's definitely gonna be a good match. I don't know what they're gonna do. If Cena is doing all these movies and stuff, and I know that's there's a title on the line, I don't really see how him winning the U.S. title makes sense. Even though I'm not the biggest Theory guy, I also don't want the title on somebody who's never gonna actually be around either.
Yeah.
So I think more so that maybe Theory or Cena wins by some sort of like DQ or something like that. That way Cena wins, but Theory still keeps the title.
Or they just do some crazy putting Theory over to kind of try and keep building him up, which I don't know how much I agree with.
Yeah, I don't know. You think Cena would lose clean?
Yeah, because I think he's at the point now where he's like, I'll just come back and kind of have my fun, Eventually he's gonna get that 17th world title. I think, it's only a matter of time. I don't know if he was really missing the urge to wrestle, he could come back for a month, if he wins at WrestleMania, and then, let's say at the next pay-per-view, I don't know if they still do Backlash, but if it was Backlash like a month later, then Cena kind of appears maybe twice in the lead up to that, and then defends the title, loses it. I don't know. But
yeah, and plus, I don't know. I agree. I think if Cena's going to win another title, it's not going to be the U.S. title.
Yeah.
It's going to be, like you said, like the undisputed title if they separate them, one of the two. But once again, I think it'll definitely be a fun match.
Yeah, and also I just want to make sure, like, John Cena had a great promo, and sometimes I feel like looking back on John Cena, those are taken for granted. The guy can cut a promo.
He definitely can. He's, I know for a long time he was kind of cringe with a lot of stuff that he did, but Thuganomics Cena, awesome.
Yep, and the guy carried the company on his. The guy carried the company. He's facing the company for what? 15 years almost.
Yeah, I know a lot of the bearing and stuff like that wasn't the best, and he did some stuff backstage that I didn't really agree with a lot of the times. But you can't take away from him as a performer. His and the things he did out of wrestling and stuff like that. He's a good guy,
Yeah,
it's just so
much speaks for itself, but.
But like I said, definitely it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and I thought they almost kind of were doing almost like a passing the torch moment from Cena to Cody, kind of, because I think they've been looking for like this next big baby face for so long.
And I have the answer to that.
Well, yes. Listen, the answer should be McIntyre, Drew. But Cody's not a bad option, even though it's not the only option. Drew's the only option. But so Cena introduces Cody. Always good to hear Cody's music. Sounded like the crowd was kind of singing along to it. I kind of thought it'd be cool if the crowd started almost doing. It might be a little copy of AEW, but if they start doing kind of like what they do for Judas, for Jericho, with Cody's song. But
yeah, no, I totally agree. It's a great it's a great theme. It's a great theme. We also had Sami Zayn backstage interview. It was very quick. Just talking about how he needs to take down Jimmy Uso. Not really much to say. That's just leading up to the main event. We've already had a lot of Bloodline stuff already throughout the night. And then we had Chad Gable versus Baron Corbin, which a match I was very excited for.
Yeah, same here. Like
I
those
mean,
those are two of our guys.
And once I saw that Baron Corbin got a jobber entrance, we knew that Chad Gable was gonna win. And it's nice because he hasn't won a match
And it's good
in a while.
See, taking the positive spin, it's good that he looks so dominant.
Yeah, and I think they're definitely, hinting at a solo run for Chad Gable because I've read and I've heard too that they've been very impressed with his in-ring work recently. And I definitely think hopefully it's gonna pay off because I mean this guy's good. He's very underrated. He's really good.
I mean, listen, Chad Gable's got the in-ring ability. Like he's one of the best workers in the company right now. He's got the charisma. He's shown it. He's got, he doesn't have the size, but who cares? The guy can work. He's got charisma.
I mean, he's like Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
I
mean, listen. That people might think it's a ridiculous comparison. The in-ring skills and the charisma aren't that far off, if not almost equal.
I don't think that comparison is far off at all.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
I mean, has Chad Gable gone to the same heights as Kurt Angle? No, but has been given the opportunity to.
Yeah. You give Gable the opportunity, I think he can really run with it.
But I mean, in-ring technical skills, I would want to name somebody better than him in the ring. Honestly, name somebody technically currently on the roster who's better than Chad Gable in the ring. You really can't.
Yeah.
He just hasn't been given the opportunity, to really shine. And I hope this solo run will actually be able to show off, what I think he could really do.
Now, what I love is a Money in the Bank run for Chad Gable, but I'll even take a U.S. title run, Intercontinental title run. I think he needs to hold some singles gold, definitely.
I would prefer
the WWE World Heavyweight title. I agree.
Maybe one day.
I agree, and then so after our buddy Chad dispatches poor Baron Corbin super quick. By the way, one more quick aside on that. I always hate when they cut away before the kiss to Otis. The Chad Gable kiss to Otis. That's one of my favorite things.
And unfortunately, it looks like we might not be getting too many more of those kisses anymore.
Yeah.
And another side note is Otis too is really good, and I like to see Chad Gable get a solo run, but I don't want to see Otis go to maximum models either. I mean, he deserves better than that as well. That's a joke.
Yeah, I mean they got something else for Otis. I mean, I know listen, I know he's funny, and I know kind of like. Anytime he's watching one of Gable's matches and he's yelling outside the ring, it's awesome. But there's gotta be something better for him.
And I hope it's not the MMM.
No. Must say. So, then we jump into Becky and Lita kind of coming out, giving their champion speech, and they invite Trish Stratus out. Always cool to see Trish out there. Well, I think it's always good to see Trish. And then Trish is out for maybe 2 seconds before Damage Control comes out. And then, Trish and Bayley get into it, some of their past dramas, and then once they jump into that, then we find out we're gonna have that WrestleMania match, the 6-woman tag. So it's gonna be a fun match.
It'll be a fun match. I'm a little more surprised though that they're not having Becky and Lita put the tag titles on the line.
The only thing I could think is maybe they do that like night 2 or something, because I feel like I feel like the titles should be defended, and I know Becky could probably do 2 nights in a row.
I don't know though. I mean, I think they definitely should defend them. I just don't know. Against Damage Control again. I guess it would make sense because they think like, oh, my rematch clause. But
I feel like they're building up like Ronda and Shayna too.
But it's like I was just gonna say the women's tag division right now is just so bad. There's like barely any teams.
Yeah, I know.
It's like so stiff, which is why Damage Control didn't defend the women's tag titles for like 3 months because there was just no competition at all.
Yeah, and it's
and they had to literally bring somebody like out of retirement essentially just to make a formidable tag team because there's just nothing out there.
Yeah. I mean, you could do like we haven't really gotten to NXT, but I'm happy Gigi Dolan's getting her solo run, but tell me they couldn't have been called up as a pair and had a tag title run, Toxic Attraction.
Shouldn't have fired Mandy Rose.
Yeah, shouldn't have fired Mandy Rose.
Once again, that's another
that's for the day.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be a good match. But more importantly, the main event. Well,
So you wanna talk about the match part of it first, and then
yeah,
yeah, we'll jump into the match part of it first, and then because after the match felt like well
yeah. So the match itself, honestly, surprisingly, it was okay. A lot of the match was actually during the picture on the commercial break.
Yeah, I think they had legitimately like a 10 to 12 minute match, but I would say
almost half of it was
Yeah,
during picture
yeah,
in picture.
yeah.
And honestly,
It's-
picture in picture is good, but you can't enjoy a match as much with no sound and a small screen. So
Yeah.
you can really tell. I mean, from what we saw, it was solid. Nothing special. Nothing to really write home about.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate that they are doing picture in picture more. That quick little aside, they did it for every match, but I mean,
For the main event, though, I would have preferred
Especially-
to kind of maybe space out the commercials where this match just didn't have a commercial during it.
or had one.
Yeah.
Had one. I would take one, but especially two guys. We know Sammy, we know Jimmy. That potential be a great match. And I mean, I get it, but it's a main event match, so I feel like they should have given them a little more time. I know it's a really packed show, and they had so much they want to get on there, but I just feel like something at the expense of Sammy and Jimmy. Something could have been done.
But for a match that was average, I would say average to above average, we did get a very, very good, important ending to the show.
Mhm.
Towards the end, we did surprisingly see Jey Uso, which I don't think anybody saw coming.
No,
Everybody assumed he was going to be show up on
That
Friday.
was such a
That
swerve.
was cool. That was cool.
That was awesome.
So Jay comes out from the crowd, walks down to the announcer's table, cheers on Jay. Sammy goes for a haluva kick, misses, but still ends up rolling up Jay for the win. After that, Jay goes into the ring, meets with Jimmy. They kind of have like an emotional moment in the middle
They
of the
brushed
ring.
by him, kind of
Yeah.
saying like it was almost like Jay was like saying like goodbye, but like a fake goodbye.
Goes down, meets Sammy. Little tense at first, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Then, Jay ends up giving Sammy a big hug and getting a huge pop.
Yep.
At that point, I was kind of like, because I'm like,
So
regardless, they still have to set up for this tag team match that's in 3.5 weeks.
yeah,
And I'm like, it would make absolutely no sense.
for the kind of drag the Jay part out of it.
Well, and Jay to just turn on the bloodline while he's still tag champs
Yeah.
with Jimmy. It just wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah,
And
that
at that point, what are you going to do? You have to forfeit the titles. It just wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, and I kind of saw it coming. Like as soon, like I kind of was a little suspicious. And as soon as Jay put the one up, I was like,
yep.
oh no.
So Jay puts the one up. So does Sammy, and then Jay super kicks Sammy in the face.
That's heartbreaking.
It was tough, but like I said, it made sense. It didn't make any sense for it not to happen. So it's though. I mean, I don't know. What do you think though? I mean, do you think that officially means? I still don't listen. I still think that Jay doesn't want to be in the bloodline though. I know that for this moment.
Yep.
But I don't think this necessarily means that he's fully back in with the bloodline either.
I think it's gonna be a temporary kind of thing, and then I think after WrestleMania we see that real split.
But after Jay super kicks Sammy, they throw him back into the ring. Jay, Jimmy, and Solo all start to attack Sammy. I mean, some people probably thought that Kevin Owens was gonna come out,
Yeah.
but which I kind of thought too. But we ended up getting Cody instead, which is going to show you that they're still not ready for Kevin Owens to kind of forgive Sammy or kind of go team up with him. But like we kind of said at the beginning, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's just not tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think we're getting that in the next. I would say by next week's SmackDown, I feel like we definitely get that. But yeah, I thought that was really really interesting. Really good swerves in there because I didn't expect Jay, so kind of I'm like, you guys are playing with my emotions right here, sending Jay out there.
Yeah, no, and I think that was like I said, considering the match itself wasn't the best, I thought the ending that they ended up doing made up for it, and overall I thought it was a very, very good Raw. Had some had a couple of low lights, you know.
Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler. But overall, I thought it was a very, very, very good show. And like I said, you know what? I know a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about, you know, the way the company's going and stuff like that recently. But you know what? They picked it up. They picked it up.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, honestly, ever since the beginning of the year, I think they've done really, really well for the most part. You know, you're always gonna have weeks, you know, where a show's not great and stuff, but I mean, you know, and you know they've been good. A little off top, but AEW's been good, just to kind of show like it's been good competition all
NXT,
around.
you know, NXT's really picking it up. It's no coincidence, and the NXT's been better since Jinder got there. But we're gonna, don't worry, we'll get you guys some Jinder content soon.
Well, yeah, we'll talk a little about Roadblock on Wednesday.
Yeah, but overall, very good Raw. I would say probably even a great Raw.
No, I totally agree. What stood out to you the most tonight?
I think the Cena segment. Well, obviously, I'm not gonna count the Jey Uso Sami Zayn thing because anytime you get the bloodline like that, I'm always gonna pick the bloodline. But then probably after that, probably the Cena Theory segment. I thought Cena really kind of brought the fire there. How about you?
No, I totally agree. Like I said, you know, not as big as the Cena segment, but you know, I definitely think it's good. And I'm going back to Chad Gable. That, you know, I think we're gonna start to see a singles run from Chad Gable. So very excited about that.
100%.
But once again, I think it was kind of like SmackDown this past week, where you know they definitely did a good job of, you know, building the matches, and they really packed in as much, you know, good quality content, you know, in the 3 hours. So
yeah, I mean, and who do you think was your performer of the night? I've been kind of struggling with this one. Who I thought the performer of the night was.
See, the thing is, the show was really, really
like promo based,
entertaining. But that's it. It was entertaining. The matches themselves were nothing really great. You know, I mean, there was, you know, a lot of the matches were squash matches.
Yeah.
You know, in the matches that were longer, you know, I don't know. Honestly, like the most surprising in-ring worker or in-ring performance was probably Carmella, because I was just surprised about how much offense she got in. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe you can say Finn Balor or Gargano. I was
either gonna go Carmella or Gargano.
Yeah, but like I said, definitely you made a good point. Definitely most of the Raw was mostly promos and stuff that really kind of built this up. You know, and some little cool surprises and stuff.
And I also,
like that,
I don't know if I mentioned this, but I also want to give a shout out to Bianca for kind of, you know, making Carmella look good too. You know, Bianca definitely had her moments in that match too. So I don't know if Bianca
won't be saying that next week when she buries Chelsea Green.
No, I will not. No, I will not, because poor Chelsea Green. Yeah, I thought, you know, I would probably give it to, you know what? I'm gonna say Carmella.
Yeah.
I'll go with Mella.
Which is the last, actually, Friday and today, both Liv Morgan and Carmella. So, you know, props to the Divas division.
Really been carrying. Really, you know, it's been very entertaining. So thank you all again for checking out our videos. Definitely make sure to like, subscribe. You know, send us an email or DM with any other ideas you have for trivia, rewatches. Let us know what you want us to do, and we'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, check us out on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
All right. What do you say?
I'm tapping out.